It was a cold October night, the kind where the rain feels heavier than it should, and the streets are emptier than they have any right to be. Claire Morgan was driving home from the late shift at the library when her headlights caught movement. A boy, no older than 12, soaked to the bone, standing alone on the side of the road. But it was the look in his eyes that made her slow down. Fear. Not the kind you get when you're lost, the kind you get when you're being hunted. And what Claire didn't know was that the boy standing in the rain was the key witness to a murder committed 10 years ago. Claire had always been the kind of person who couldn't turn away from someone in need. Maybe it came from years of looking after her younger brother, or maybe some part of her had always been searching for something or someone to save. She pulled over, rolled down her window. "Hey, you okay?" she called out over the rain. The boy didn't answer. He just stood there, shivering. Claire stepped out of the car, rain soaking her jacket in seconds. Up close, she could see he was pale, lips trembling, clutching a small backpack so tightly his knuckles were white. "I can take you somewhere safe," she offered, and after a long pause, he nodded. Inside the warm car, Claire tried to make small talk. Name, where he lived, where his parents were, but all he said was, "My name's Evan." No last name, nothing else. The rain hammered harder as they drove. Claire noticed Evan kept glancing at the rearview mirror, not at her, but at the dark, empty road behind them. And once, just for a second, she thought she saw headlights flash far in the distance. At her house, she gave him a blanket and made hot chocolate. He sat at her kitchen table, silent, except for one question. "Do you lock your doors at night?" She laughed awkwardly. "Of course, why?" Evan didn't answer, but she could swear she saw his small hands trembling harder as the wind howled outside. Later, while Claire made up the guest room, she heard faint noises from the kitchen. When she peeked in, Evan was by the back door, staring out into the rain. "Someone's out there," he whispered. Claire rushed to the window but saw nothing, just darkness and the glow of her porch light. But when she turned back, Evan had already stepped away, sitting stiffly at the table like nothing had happened. That night, the storm raged. Claire couldn't sleep. Every creak of the house sounded louder. And just past 2 a.m., she swore she heard footsteps in her yard. When she checked, there were wet boot prints on the porch, but no sign of anyone. By morning, the rain had stopped, but the unease had not. Claire decided to call the police, just to be safe. When she mentioned Evan's name, the dispatcher went quiet. Then, almost cautiously, asked, "Ma'am, can you keep him there until an officer arrives?" Something in their tone made her heart pound. When she hung up, she found Evan in the living room, holding an old photograph he must have found on her shelf. It was of Claire, age 16, with her childhood friend Noah. Evan stared at it and whispered, "I've seen him before, the night it happened." Claire froze. "The night what happened?" Evan's eyes filled with tears. "The man in the photograph, he was there when my dad was killed." Before Claire could react, movement outside caught her eye. A man, tall, hooded, standing just at the tree line across the road, watching the house. Evan backed away, panic in his voice. "That's him. He's been following me since last night." Claire grabbed the phone, but the line was dead. The hooded man began walking toward the house. Slow, deliberate, each step echoing in the silence. Claire locked the doors, told Evan to hide. But the man reached the porch, and in the muffled daylight, she finally saw his face. Noah, her childhood friend, older, colder, eyes full of something dark. The police arrived just as Noah tried the back door. He ran, but he didn't get far. Evan told them everything. The murder he'd witnessed as a child, the years he'd spent moving from place to place, the fear that never left him. Claire sat in shock as officers explained. Noah had been a suspect in a cold case for a decade, but they never had a witness until now. And as Evan was taken into protective custody, he looked back at Claire, silent, but in his eyes, a gratitude that said more than words ever could. Sometimes, the people we help on the darkest nights are the ones who bring the truth into the light.